miles a week. We'll give you hearts that beat deep purple and a whole new way to speak. We'll give you hands across the borders, big cities, little towns, where the human race is running. We'll be found. We're the best way to ship it over there. Express. From the dawn through the night, we're in the air. Express. We carry confidence across the continents. We're the best way to ship it over there. We carry dreams and plans to 100 lands. We're the best way to ship it over there.
I'd like to welcome you to the Federal Express time management video. Just as our company revolutionized the business of sports marketing, I think Federal Express has revolutionized the better use of time in business. Federal Express's philosophy, like mine, is that we can all use our time to greater advantage. We live in an accelerated business age where the victories not only go to the smartest, but to the swiftest and the most reliable. I hope this video, which includes many of my thoughts on getting organized, using the telephone, and making time yield to your schedule, contributes to your success.
Time management.
I run my business life from a yellow legal pad, with one sheet devoted to each day, with a vertical line drawn down the middle. People to call go on the left, things to do go on the right. I also carry index cards in a coat pocket to jot down bulletins for people I regularly speak with. I use the cards to write down information to be transferred later to the appropriate page on my legal pad. I mention this not to convert the world to my own way of managing time. What works for me might not work for you. Yet I've never known a successful person in business who didn't operate from some personal organizational system.
We all keep notes. Every businessman keeps notes to remind himself to do something in the future. Mark keeps more notes than any person I've ever seen on those famous 3x5 cards. I don't know how he indexes them or how his secretaries ever figure out what he's written down or how to follow up on it, but he does. He never fails. His follow-up is unbelievable.
People who manage their time wisely know that it is important to savor the easy tasks.
Let's say, for example, you have 11 things you want to accomplish during the day. 8 of them, you know exactly how much time they're going to require. 2 of them you think you know, and 1 you're not sure because it could get pretty involved. Which one would you tackle first? Many people tackle the last one first, perhaps because it represents the biggest challenge. I always try to get the 8 achievable tasks done first. It gives me a pleasant sense of accomplishment and the proper momentum for the tough parts of my agenda. In my mind, easy tasks are to be enjoyed, not ignored, and not taken for granted.
You should also plan backwards to keep moving forward.
It's not life or death for me to be on time, but I take pride in knowing how long it takes to get things done. I attach the same thought and care to budgeting my personal time that I do to projecting accurate financial budgets. I apply this to even the smallest of details. For example, if I have an 8 o'clock breakfast meeting with someone at my office, I don't take my wake-up hour casually. Like most people, I have a fairly predictable morning routine made up of tasks that I have to do and little rewards that I like to do. I know, for example, that I need 30 minutes to get dressed and 10 minutes to get to the office. But I also want 15 minutes for exercise, 20 minutes to read the paper, 10 minutes to read overnight faxes, and about 30 minutes for dictation, and maybe 5 minutes to think about the 8 o'clock meeting. That's 2 hours of time which, working backwards, tells me I have to wake up no later than 6 o'clock in the morning. To get a later start means I sacrifice something, usually 1 or more of my rewards. That kind of loss is no way to start the day.
Most importantly, don't try to be a time hero or the hero's victim.
People want to be time heroes. They try to do 2 hours of work in 1 hour. These sort of people can destroy your schedule. They're always running behind at your expense. For example, how often has someone told you they'll meet you after work at 6 p.m., but first they must make 2 phone calls and run across town on 3 errands? And then, as you suspected, they show up at 7. Before I'll be a victim of somebody's poor organization, I'm going to calculate their time and say, wait a minute, how can you get all that done by 6? Why don't you just do it all and agree to meet me at 7? Why make both of us feel foolish?
Finally, you should work from a to-do list that is realistic.
I love making lists. Not because I need to remind myself how busy I am. I just find it very satisfying to scratch out tasks that are finished. But I don't make lists of things to do unless I think there's a good chance that I can do them all. To me, the true sign of an organized executive is not how many projects he or she can enumerate on a to-do list at the start of a business day, but rather how many are crossed off at the end of the day. If I've managed my time well, my ideal to-do list is totally unreadable at the end of the day.
A real time bomb in the business day is what Mark McCormack calls transition times.
People who deal with me on a regular basis know that I have a heightened sense of time and that maximizing the 168 hours in a week is a very high priority for me. However, I don't think I'm a prisoner of time. I won't, for example, rush a delicate negotiation that's running longer than planned simply to save 5 minutes on my schedule. 5 minutes as an isolated increment of time is not that important. But if you can save 5 minutes 12 times a day, you've saved an hour. And an hour is something you can work with. You can go jogging, you can play with your children, you can take a nap, read a book, do something else to enjoy yourself. There are a lot of periods in each day that are wasted time. But in my mind, the most galling are what I call transition times. The period between the end of one transaction and the beginning of the next. The time at which an associate and I finish our business and the time it takes for us to leave each other's presence is something that people in all walks of life have trouble with. For example, how often at a dinner party have you seen people A, decide to leave, B, wander into the next room, C, stop and chat, D, loiter by the door, E, promise to get together real soon, and F, renew those promises out by the car at the driveway? The period between everyone thinking, I'm finished with this beautiful evening, and everyone actually heading home can sometimes take 20 to 30 minutes. Of course, that's one of the pleasures of a relaxed social life and one of the rewards of organizing your business life. But if you let them, similarly relaxed transitions can occur half a dozen or more times during your workday, and the stolen minutes or hours are really hard to recover.
Being aware of these so-called transition times is half the battle. The other half is letting people in on your secret without being rude. Bud Stanner is a senior corporate vice president for IMG.
Mark has always tried to foster and maintain an open door policy throughout the company, and he has asked several of us to help him accomplish that. I recall not too long ago, one of our executives came into my office and said, listen, I really would like to have some time with Mark. I have something I'd like to talk to him about. And I said, well, Mark's door is always open, so go check with the secretary and find out when it might be convenient for you to meet with Mark. And he came back into my office about 10 minutes later, kind of in a state of shock, and he said, Mark told me through his secretary to meet him at the elevator here on the 13th floor and to ride down with him and to be at the elevator in the lobby between 10:30 and 10:31. And he came back after that brief ride in the elevator, and he said, I was very concerned because I didn't think that would be enough time. But sure enough, on my 13th floor ride with Mark in the elevator, I was able to accomplish what I want to, and I feel real good about that.
Quite often, I try to make fun of my crowded schedule. I try to be blunt and at the same time poke fun at myself for being so. If someone has outstayed their welcome or is taking more of my time than they asked for, I might make a joke about, I'm afraid I'm going to have to kick you out, or say something like that. The easiest situation is when the other person has something to do and he says he can only see you for, say, half an hour. If he then lingers past 30 minutes, I'm going to say to him, I'm sorry you had only a half hour for my meeting, but I scheduled something after you. There is no excuse for wasting time with people who claim to be busier than you are. The best situation, of course, is when a scheduled 30-minute discussion gets resolved in 15 minutes. If someone gives me the gift of time, I won't waste those extra 15 minutes thanking them for it. I'll return the favor, and I'll let them go.
Betsy Goff is vice president for legal affairs for Trans World International, another of McCormack's companies.
When he schedules meetings with IMG people, the meetings are scheduled at 10 after the hour, or 20 after the hour, or 25 after the hour. They are never, in my experience, at the 12 o'clock or 12:30. and rarely at the quarter hour. And it seems to me a device because it's very clear to me, if my meeting's at 10 after 11, I have to be there at 10 after 11. It's not kind of 11 o'clock that I sort of get there and wait to go in. It's that precision that I think keeps his hour quite straight and also keeps people very aware of the importance of staying on schedule to him.
The biggest time bomb of all, the telephone.
To a street-smart executive, the telephone may be the biggest time management tool of all. But not enough people use it wisely. They get the urge to call, and the message goes directly to their dialing finger, and it bypasses their brain. They forget that when you call is no less important than who and why you're calling, and usually determines whether your call ever gets through.
To get through to the right people without wasting time, you must first learn their patterns.
In the early days of our business, when Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and Jack Nicklaus were our major clients, as a matter of efficiency and self-preservation, I quickly figured out their phone habits. The obvious exercise is to get someone when you're not waking them out of a sound sleep, and also when they're not just about to run out the door. After learning about all of their respective habits, it worked out that I would always call Arnold at 8 o'clock in the morning, Gary at 9, and Jack at 10. In those days, if I phoned earlier, there was a good chance I'd wake them, and if I phoned 1 hour later, they'd invariably be gone.
If you don't know their patterns, ask them what's convenient.
In any business, there are people you have to reach who you don't know too well, whose habits are impossible to fathom, or who are genuinely as busy as they claim to be. They may take your calls, but they never have time to talk. Be very frontal with such people. Ask them, when is a convenient time for me to call you? And then be sure to phone precisely at the appointed hour, no matter how inconvenient it might be for you.
What about calling people on the road?
The best time to call someone who travels a lot is between 8 and 9 a.m. at their hotel, unless you know something unusual about their habits that would indicate to call even earlier. The cocktail hour is also good because people usually return to their hotel between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. to rest or get ready for a night out. Of course, you always run the risk of catching someone who's tired or aggravated. If I sense my call is ill-timed, I always apologize and say, how early can I call you tomorrow morning so as not to wake you up, but to catch you before you leave?
Then there is the strategically timed call when you don't want to get through.
Occasionally, you may have to call people who, for various reasons, you really don't want to talk to. A rudimentary knowledge of their work habits should tell you when to call so you won't get through. For example, if they arrive at work late, call at 9 a.m. If they leave early, call at 5:30 p.m. The perfect time for such a call, obviously, is at lunchtime, in which case you get credit for making the call without actually having to complete it. Now, I don't necessarily endorse this sort of telephone tag, but it's better than being considered totally unresponsive.
The telephone is also a great management tool. McCormack calls this management by phone around.
With executives in 37 offices around the world, I have to stay in regular telephone contact with lots of people. My calls tend to be short, rarely exceeding 5 minutes. I schedule phone calls to my executives as firmly as I do an important meeting. This helps me master my time while respecting theirs. It also makes the other person on the line very alert. Letting an employee know that I'll be calling for 5 minutes at 11:20 a.m. to discuss a particular project has a funny way of turning even the most rambling executive into a model of precision and brevity. Quite often, I'll schedule 8 phone calls in a row within a half an hour, and I'll open each conversation with the same 2 words, what's new? What follows is usually a well-organized account of projects that executive is developing or pursuing or finishing up. Any subject he or she glosses over or neglects to mention usually pinpoints where both of us should be concentrating more of our time.
A well-timed call can be a great management tool.
Most of my calls, for example, cross several time zones. I'll place a New York to London call at 9:30 a.m. London time because it's most convenient for my executives and for me. But I have a pretty good idea that they might be impressed by the fact that I'm calling at 4:30 a.m. in my time zone. I think it's very worthwhile for them to know that I'm up and thinking about them and that our discussion is important. Management by Federal Express. Some of your most effective time-saving ideas are also great management tools. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine visited the weekend home of a CEO of a large and very successful investment bank. Saturday morning, the two of them spent together. My friend watched Federal Express pulling into the driveway. A few moments later, the package would be delivered to the CEO's study. My friend asked, "What's in the envelopes?" Progress reports, was the reply. Deal memos. Notes for the Monday morning management meetings. Things like that, said the CEO. I've heard of far more costly ways to let employees know that 1, their work is important, 2, they shouldn't miss deadlines, and 3, they shouldn't hand in something that's less than their best.
Managing your time wisely is as important out of the office as it is inside.
I'm always amazed by how tenaciously executives fight to get an entire week or 2 of vacation time into their employment contract, and even more amazed when they never take the time off. It's crucial to force yourself to take time off, but it requires discipline. I always schedule leisure time, whether it's 1 hour or several days. I put relaxation time on my calendar in as ironclad a position as any other business appointment. If I decide to take an afternoon nap and put it on my schedule, that hour or 2 is inviolate. I simply will not toy with it. Because I run my own business, I find it's better for me to take mini vacations of 2 to 5 days. 2 or 3 weeks away would leave me with such a backlog that the thought of it would ruin the last half of my holiday. As a result, I take more time off than my associates think. Plan your leisure time. Lock it in tightly. If you don't, your time is like an empty closet. It just fills up. Ever since our organization grew beyond 5 employees, I've maintained talk-to files for each of our executives. There are now dozens of such files in more than a half dozen cities. I literally toss any document having to do with an executive into a file and keep it there. Some of them date back to the late 60s or early 70s. Then the next time I see that executive, I'll go through his or her talk-to file to refresh both of us. I think this has helped me get a tenuous grip on one of the more aggravating aspects of running a business, the feeling that too many things are falling between the cracks. I've made talk-to files an integral part of my note-taking and time management system. The files, combined with my legal pad and index cards, are all that I need at any meeting.
Doing business on the road.
As in most situations, but especially when you're traveling on business, your greatest ally is your common sense. One thing I always try to remember when I'm traveling is to be nice to clerks. That's common sense.
Good evening, Mr. McCormack. It's very nice to see you again.
But a lot of people seem to lose their common sense once they get out of the office. Perhaps you've witnessed the following scenario in your travels. A man arrives at an airport ticket counter to learn he's been bumped from an overbooked flight. He'll do anything to board the plane. So what does he try to do? He tries to bully his way onto the plane. He berates the ticket clerk. He damns the airline. He demands to see the supervisor. And generally, he makes a perfect fool out of himself. But what he seems to overlook is that the only person in the world at that particular moment who can get him on that flight is that ticket agent. The ticket agent, of course, just stands there and thinks, there's no way that this jerk is getting on this plane.
No one needs common sense more than the frequent flyer.
As someone who's flown 250,000 miles a year for the past 10 or 15 years, I don't go looking for trouble at airports. I choose my airlines carefully. I make a point of knowing which ones in which cities have the most flights, the most nonstops, the most delays. I know which ones have the most backup planes, which ones are closest to the baggage claim, which ones have more than one class carriage. I even know which ones are lenient about carry-on luggage.
Here are 5 more strategies for the frequent flyer. First, the airlines want to help you. Let them.
I try very hard to get to know the customer relations people at each airport. All airlines have these special services people to assist VIPs and not so VIPs. They're amazing people. They can get you upgrades to first class. They'll put you next to an empty seat so you're more comfortable. They'll walk you through customs and immigration if you're in a hurry. I also belong to most of the airline clubs. They come in handy when you arrive early or are delayed and need a place to relax, work, or even conduct a meeting and make phone calls.
Run early rather than late.
This is the most obvious advice and virtually impossible for many people. They seem to have to make an adventure of showing up at the last minute. They need to race through airports. I don't. I'd rather get there an hour early than endure the discomfort of driving through heavy traffic, wondering if I'm going to make my flight. Also, give yourself an hour between connecting flights if you have checked luggage. You can schedule connections a little lighter if you carry on everything. And I do.
The bigger the airline, the better.
Stick with the larger airlines with frequent flights and lots of aircraft coming in and out. They're more likely to have several planes on the ground as backup. You're less likely to get stranded in case of mechanical problems.
The best hours to fly.
As a general rule of business travel, you should do the things that everyone else has to do at the times when everyone else is not doing them. If you regularly book 5 o'clock flights out of LaGuardia or O'Hare, don't complain if you're stuck on the runway. 8 o'clock flights in the morning and 5 o'clock flights in the afternoon are murderous. I try to get the first flight out at 7 a.m. or I take something midday or sometimes very late at night.
Don't do in the air what you can do better on the ground.
I used to catch up on reading and paperwork during flights, but I soon realized I could do this more productively on the ground. Now I catch up on sleep because there are no phones and few interruptions 30,000 feet in the air. As a result, I'm more awake on the ground.